want to read out of Matthew 2, starting in verse 1. It says, "Now, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, 'Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star in the east and have come to worship him.' When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Gathering together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They said to him, 'In Bethlehem of Judea, for this is what has been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the leaders of Judah, for out of you shall come forth a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel.' When Herod secretly called the Magi and determined from them the exact time the star appeared, and he sent them to Bethlehem and said, 'Go and search carefully for the child, and when you have found him, report to me so that I too may come and worship him.' After hearing the king, they went their way, and the star which they had seen in the east went on before them until it came and stood over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. After coming into the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell to the ground and worshipped him. Then opening their treasures, they presented to him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned by God in a dream not to return to Herod, the Magi left for their own country by another way." Before I get into this, I want to say in our preschool, we run a preschool here at our church, and in the month of December, we teach our preschoolers Matthew 2:10, where it says, "And when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding joy." But they're little kids, and so they say, "And when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding joys." And we laugh at it every time, and it's so adorable because they're so enthusiastic about it that I think that sometimes as we grow and as we become adults, we lose that enthusiasm of what that moment would have been like. You know, the Magi were very smart, intelligent people who had been searching and seeking, and when they found out this star and followed it, I just think it's so cool who at that time, some of the wisest people at that time, God declared to them in a dream to not go back to Herod, to go their own way. And when they saw, I really do believe that when they saw Jesus and fell on their face, that solidified for them that, you know what, this is who we've been waiting for. This is the promise that we've been given. We are not going to give them up to Herod. We're going to go back. But they followed a light. They followed a star. And sometimes when we are in the midst of what feels really, really dark, one little light, one little glow really can bring joy to us and bring peace to us. You know, in the storms this last few weeks, several times in the middle of the night, I'd look out the window and, you can't see anything, or it's just haze and there's just snow blowing everywhere. And I remember a few nights after the last storm we had, I looked down and I could see one star out my window, and I was like, oh, that's nice. It's kind of like when you have rainy days and the sun finally comes out and you're like, I missed that. That was really, really nice. So a lot of us don't always do great this time of year when we have less light. Like, there's an importance to light. We know this. We've learned this. Now there's studies about how significant light is for you, and that your body has to have it to regulate your hormones and your moods and all that. And, this time of year, I feel that, and I know other people do too, where it's just kind of like this darkness, like I'm ready to go to bed at 4. Last night we were getting ready for all the festivities, and we were wrapping gifts and cooking and all that stuff. And Seth and I have a tendency to procrastinate. And so usually on Christmas Eve, we're up very late, like ridiculously late, wrapping gifts, and every year going, we are not doing this next year. We're not doing this next year. And so last night we were like, we're getting it all out of the way. And I said, okay, I think I got 2 more hours in me. What time is it, Seth? And he's like, it's 6. And I said, I definitely have a few more hours in me. And he's like, it's 6 and I'm ready to go to bed. And I'm like, me too. Light is so important. And it's important physically, and it's important emotionally. Just so when you're in a dark valley and you just need something emotionally, you just need one little light. When that light breaks through, how significant that is that you can grab onto it. Just for, okay, I am still in the valley, but I'm going to make it through. I'm going to make it to the other side. In Luke chapter 8, in verse 16, it says, Sorry. Now, no one, after lighting a lamp, covers it over with a container or puts it under a bed, but he puts it on a lampstand so that those who come in may see the light. For nothing is hidden that will not become evident, nor anything in secret that will not be known and come to light. If you're here on Sunday, we talked about being a witness. And, we were watching those little kids do their Christmas programs, and just that was such a great practice in putting their faith into action of just being a witness of what God has done. You don't light a candle. My husband's really doesn't love it when I light candles in the house, and I did forget to put one out today. But anyway, you don't light one and then cover it up so nobody can see it. You kind of want it out in the open. You want everybody to get that feeling, that cozy feeling, the smell that it puts out. And of course, back then, that was their only source of light. And so you didn't go and cover it. You wanted everybody to enjoy it and be able to see and converse and stuff like that. When we have an experience with God, when we see the light, we don't want to cover it up. When we truly experience who God is, when we get to have that moment where we know he's touched our soul and he's touched our lives, it would be such a disservice to ourselves and to the people around us to then go and cover that up. But we want to let that light shine. We want to go and tell, just like we were talking about on Sunday, to go and be a witness, to let that light shine so that people can know. Go and tell them, man, let me tell you what the Lord has done. We sang that song on Sunday, and I just love it. Go tell it on the mountain. Man, go let your lungs rejoice and spread the word of what God has done in your life. What he has done, let no man cover up. I want people to know that what God has done in my life, he can do for you too. We are in a world where sometimes it feels so hopeless. Why not give people hope? Why not say, man, there is a God who you can experience, that when you are in the dark valley, he is with you. And he is that light beckoning you. He is guiding you. You can follow that and you will find a place where you will find peace, where you will find joy. And if I have that experience in my life, and if I have a moment where I know God's touched my life, may I bring it forth so that other people can hear about it, so that I can be an example, so I can be a light. Because what a disservice it would be when somebody is feeling super hopeless to just cover that up and not give them a little bit of hope, a little bit of, peace in the darkest times that they have. And then in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6, it says, for God, who said, light shine out of the darkness, is the one who has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. We talked about on Sunday that the Word was the truth and was the light, and that John was the light barrier. He was going to point to the light. And as we go forth in the season, may we be the light in our families, in our jobs, in every place that we step foot in our kids' events, in their schools, wherever we go, may we be the light. And sometimes that gets really exhausting. Sometimes trying to be the light in your own family can be really, really exhausting at times. But let's not grow weary in doing good. Let us find strength in the goodness and the peace of God so that we can give forth the truth. Man, what did Jesus come here to do? To speak the truth. To give the truth. He came to change all the things that had no longer been working for these people, that weren't serving them anymore. He came to speak truth. And he came to be a light. And if I am an image bearer, a light bearer, may I carry that out to all those that I'm in contact with. And some days you just don't really feel like it. I was in the store the other day shopping, and I had my earbuds in, and I was really just like, I'm not interested in really, really having a conversation with anybody, because I've got a lot to do. The storm was picking up. I foolishly drove to Rapid in it. And I was just kind of like, I'm going to get what I'm going to get, and I'm going to get home. And I had my earbuds in, and I was just kind of really distracted walking through the mall. And I had a friend going, Jodee, on the other side of the mall, waving me down. And I thought, ooh, I really could have looked like a jerk at that moment, because I had my hair down and I was just walking. And I thought, I need to be more aware. I need to be aware of the opportunities of that people walking by. Maybe I know them or don't know them, but maybe there's somebody that's coming down my path that needs encouragement, that needs edification, who needs just a little light. They're feeling like they're in a really low valley, and they just need a little hope. I want to be that person that brings hope to them. I want to be the person that points back to what Jesus did all those years ago, born in the most unusual circumstances, not in a glorious way, in a humble way, where he came to just be among us, to be a light, to point back to his heavenly Father, and all the things that he did. We can be the same. Remember, Jesus said, "These things you will do, and greater things." We can do that. We can be that. So as we go through these days, and we're celebrating, and we're just enjoying being with one another, and sometimes you might feel exhausted, and sometimes you feel a little worn out, encourage yourself. Build yourself up. You don't know who you're in contact with that needs just a little bit of extra love, a little bit of extra hope, it just needs a little light to get them through that dark time that they're in. And I would much rather be the person who rallies themselves up and says, okay, remember who you are, remember who you belong to, go encourage that person, than to be the person that found out that that person really needed it and I didn't do it when I had the opportunity. We are the light. We carry the light inside of us. People know that we are different just by the way we move through this life. May they know and see that it points back to God, that it's all because of him. It's all that because of what he's done in our life.